I am so pleased to be joined this morning by Minister Garnier. I will tell you that every time I have the opportunity to speak on a panel with him, I come away much richer from having learned from him. I'm also pleased to see that Scott Simpson, who is chargé at the British Embassy, is here. I know that the British Embassy is becoming engaged and working in many different ways on English as a second language as well. I also want to thank our conference organizers, and a special thanks to Carl Schmack and to Arturo Munoz for all of their hard work and their support and their commitment to this conference. The U.S. Embassy is proud to be a co-organizer for this event. And as you all know, these things do not happen by some monolithic organization, but by the real roll-up-your-sleeves hard work of the people who work in our embassy. And in that regard, I'd like to recognize Carmen Chinchilla and Oscar Avila of our embassy's public affairs team. And most of all, I'm so delighted to see all of you here. I know that this is vacation time for you all, and for you to take your vacation time and invest it in your careers and making you all better English teachers is really inspiring to all of us that are up here today to speak to you. When I arrived in Costa Rica 2 years ago, the first public appearance that I made was here at this conference. I spoke to you all as the first public appearance, and the reason was very specific. I wanted to highlight at the beginning of my tour the great importance that I had, as well as our embassy, for education, for English as a second language, and as well for the key role that you all play as teachers. Since then, I was wondering if I had pictures going in the back. Since that time, over the last 2 years, I have had the opportunity and the advantage to travel across Costa Rica, to talk to the students, and to witness firsthand how students in Costa Rica and their families yearn for the chance to learn English and the real-life impact that these people face when those dreams go unrealized. I have had the chance to visit a small school in Drake's Bay where the children gathered around and shyly wished me, "Hello, Ambassador, good day." And their parents came up afterwards in Spanish and asked what more could the U.S. Embassy do to help their children learn English. I've hosted a roundtable in Guanacaste where I learned that the majority of high school students have to move down to San Jose in order to get work, and they have to leave their families because in Guanacaste, with a tourism-based economy that values fluency in English, many of the students up there do not have that capability and therefore have to go far afield to find a job. My teenage children and I spent an afternoon at the American Corner in Limon with a group of very energetic students who quizzed my children on English. And basically what they did was they told my children that they so much love American music and American movies, and they wanted to be able to speak English so they could better understand this wonderful culture. There's no doubt that English is critical for young Costa Ricans to fully participate in a 21st century economy and to have access to the information, the innovation, and the culture that flows across the internet. And this is why in Embassy San Jose's mission strategy that a secure, prosperous, and green Costa Rica benefits both of our countries, that we have made English as a second language one of the key programs that we are advancing. But I don't have to tell you all how important English as a second language is to the lives of the students and their families that you all engage with every day. I know that in addition to my meetings across Costa Rica where I had time to talk to the students, I also always took time to meet with the principals of the schools where we were, to the families and the English teachers. And I have come away so impressed by all of you. I also have learned from talking with you all that your task is not easy. And I know it is complicated by a lack of resources and limited access to the books, the computers, and the type of classroom resources that could make a difference. Each of you has the potential every day to touch the students in your classroom, and that is across the span of your career. We know that the impact that you all could have would be much greater if you can deploy the latest teaching materials and use all the materials at hand, from paper and scissors to computer games. To answer that parent from Drakes Bay about what can the U.S. Embassy do to help to promote English as a second language and work with you, the teachers, who are engaging in that day to day, let me tell you about some of the ways in which we are partnering in the schools with the Ministry of Education to provide innovative educational opportunities. One of the things we're doing is looking how we can think creatively. As I think many of you know, money is not going to solve all our problems, and there certainly is not enough money there to solve our problems. So this is part of the artistry that I think we are looking at for the conference this week, that we must think creatively. So one of the ways that our Peace Corps volunteers who are out there teaching English and supporting teachers of English language, thinking creatively, they came up with a game using dice. Dice cost about $1. And they've come up with a wonderful game that you can use dice and use it to teach students how to construct sentences with different tenses of verbs and get the students to build up that mental agility that's necessary in order to speak English more fluently. This program has been laid out in a wonderful resource that we are so delighted to make available to you. This is a booklet that two wonderful Peace Corps volunteers, Megan Kuhn and Kevin Klott, who have been working in the schools, who understand the challenges, know about the limited resources, they put together a booklet that's called Cheap Materials and Engaging Activities for Teaching English as a Foreign Language. And they have come up with a large menu of different games you can play, and all of the materials that you need for each of these different exercises costs $1, $2 at most, using materials like scissors and dice. I hope that you all will take the time to learn more about this during the week. I know that we are going to be providing a copy of this to Minister Garnier and hope that this can become one of the wonderful tools that we can provide to you all to help you. Another thing that we are doing is trying to share best practices. One of our resources that we have is the English Language Fellows from Latin America, who will be joining you at this conference this week. The State Department dispatches these people to the region to work directly with you all in order to make sure that the ways that we are supporting you are customized to really be helpful and to make a difference. These fellows are a fountain of new ideas. One of my favorites is a YouTube video that was produced by one of our recent fellows, Sky McLeod, showing teachers in Sarapiquí how to make movies as an English teaching tool with a simple $20 cell phone. Another way that we are working with you all and collaborating to advance programs that have real impact is to look at ways we can further engage the private sector. This weekend, our embassy staff will travel to one of the country's most beautiful but economically challenged regions, the OSA, and they will meet there with regional teachers, private companies, and teachers to consider how we can expand our partnerships and engage the private sector in order to inject greater resources into an area that struggles in order to provide the kind of support and resources that children need to learn English as a second language. We hope that with this effort we can develop some more models, and I'm hoping that next year at the conference we can share with you the results of our efforts in the OSA that we can hopefully replicate more across the country. But even with games and computers and books, there's no doubt that there's one essential ingredient to success, and that is you, the teachers. You are the ones that have the greatest impact on your students. And this is not a secret. I was listening carefully last night to President Obama's State of the Union address, and I thought it was fascinating that he looked out across a packed forum in the Capitol with some of the most successful people in the United States, our Supreme Court justices, the head of our military, our Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton. And he said to them, there's one group of people that have had an impact and made it possible for all of you successful citizens to be here tonight. It was a teacher. It was a teacher such as Karen Castillo Bermudez of Perez Zeledón, who gives an example here in Costa Rica of that kind of impact. Karen is one of 3 Costa Rican teachers the U.S. Embassy selected under a new U.S. government program called Teaching Excellence and Achievement. Later this year, these teachers will receive 6 weeks of intensive training in the United States and do an internship in a United States high school. In her application for this program, Karen wrote, and I quote, "If I improve, then my pupils' academic achievement will improve. Society will have better individuals and professionals to make the country grow. It is like a domino effect." My hope is that domino effect, or perhaps even a dice effect, will start this week. As American educator John Dana said, "Who dares to teach must never cease to learn." And I think this is at the heart of the artistry of teaching. It is in this dynamic, changing, and challenging atmosphere where you all can paint a new world for all of us. I wish you the best success in your conference and all the best in your work this year in the classroom. Thank you.